Hi everybody, this is Sarah Morris, your career coach, helping you find a fulfilling career and life. And today we're going to talk about 3 steps to quitting your job. Now, before you do quit your job, the first step actually is just to double check it's the right thing to do. Now, there might be some real red flags that are definite real reasons that you really might want to consider leaving, such as a poor social environment, real toxicity within the environment at work, or maybe you're not being challenged enough, or you've been there a long while and it's just time to move on, perhaps. Or, in fact, maybe just work isn't actually matching up with your values. So, for example, if you really value one thing, but work isn't meeting that, or worse still, work is actually counteracting that and it's actually doing something that's against your values, then these are really good reasons why it probably is time to move on. But you do want to double check that. And also, before you quit, you're going to need to really check that you're going to be moving to the right place. So many people quit their job and jump into something, but they find that that thing is actually worse than the job that they left. So you're going to need to do a bit of a job really checking out your ideas and the next move and making sure it's the right one to take. So before you do anything, you're going to check that the place you're going to go next is the right thing for you. And by doing that, you're going to need to have a good look into your own values and purposes and check what you really want. So look into your past and work out what have been the most happy moments and what have been the things that you've really enjoyed about your life and your work in the past, and note those things down. And just double check that the job that you've been doing, or the sector that you've been in, is the right one, because it might be that actually it's time to make a big change and move into a completely new sector and a completely new role. Or it might be just that you want to move from one job into another job that's in the same sector, but just in a different organisation. So those are sorts of things that you're going to need to figure out. And I really do suggest you having a good long look at yourself and what you really enjoy, and working out whether it is right to stay in the same sector or whether actually it's time to make a move into a new sector. And whether or not you're moving to a different sector or you're going to stay into the same sector, I still recommend that you start checking out potential moves. So this is before you've quit your job. You're going to start still checking that is the right thing to do by reaching out to people within this new organisation or new sector. And all you need to do is send them a message on LinkedIn, just saying that you're interested in potentially the organisation or the sector that they work in, and would they mind answering a couple of questions for you, and just shoot them the questions. Now, a few people might not reply to you, but you'll be surprised by how many people are very willing to help and will want to reply to you. And by doing that, you're actually building up your network as well, and potentially even helping yourself get a job in that industry or that even in that organisation. So ask them their opinions, ask them what they like about the job, what a day in the job involves, what they don't like about the job, and then make a judgment. Is that something you want to go for, or do you want to go back to your ideas process again and have a think about something else that you want to go for? Another thing you can do as well is seek out potential sectors or organisations again and see if you can shadow someone for the day. Now, don't be shy about doing this. Be proactive by asking people. It can't hurt at all. There's nothing wrong at all in asking people. They can only say no, and it's fine if you get a few no's, because eventually, if you keep asking, you're going to get a yes, and that's going to give you a huge insight into this potential new job and really give you that feedback as to whether it's the right thing or not. So really test out your ideas, reach out to people, and know as much as you possibly can about what you might be going into next. And once you've decided that what you're going to go into next is going to be better than your current job, then it's time to make up a plan. So step 2 is to make a plan. You still haven't quit your job at this point, you're just making a plan. So you want to start reaching out to organisations and making applications. It's much easier to get a job when you're already in one than when you're not. Now, if you do have enough money and you do decide you want to take a break for a few months or a year or whatever like that, of course that's fine. You can quit and work this stuff out and do your applications a bit later. But for most people, you're going to want to stay in your current job while you make those applications. And you want to have a really strategic approach about it. So don't let time just run on and let this time pass whilst months and months pass when you could have actually applied for a job. I would actually address this issue like almost a part-time job. And I put aside a couple of hours every week, if not more, to write down lists of organisations you want to apply for and write to them. Even if they aren't advertising jobs, it might be that by writing you can find out that they were just about to advertise one, for example, or that there's a vacancy coming up that you can actually maybe get a head start with. So do reach out, be polite and be proactive. And if organisations haven't got jobs available, then you could ask if they've got any chance of shadowing somebody in that job or volunteering even for a while if you would have time for that. So make a firm plan and address job applications and finding a job almost like a little part-time job yourself. And once you have a job offer and a job actually set ahead of you, that's the time when you're actually going to quit your job for most of you. So step 3 is to actually quit your job, of course. And the way you're going to do this is specifically in a really positive way. So when we quit jobs, sometimes a lot of us have quite negative feelings about the job. When you leave a job, more often than not, there is some negativity attached to the reason for leaving, other than just being a bit bored. And what you want to not do is mention any of these negative things. So when you hand in your notice, the best thing to do is always approach someone personally, face to face first, to give them a heads up that you're going to be leaving. So handing in your notice without doing that, it is legally fine, but it's always a little bit softer and a little bit nicer if you can just approach somebody, even if it's your line manager, and just give them a heads up that you're going to be leaving. And when you do that, be positive. So all you need to say is you're moving on to something else, it's time for a change, and that's what you're going to do. You don't need to mention any negative aspects or any reasons as to why you're leaving at this point. Next thing is you're going to actually give that resignation letter or email, and it's just going to be 2 sentences long. So really positive again. All it's going to literally say is, I am going to be resigning. My last day of work is going to be this date. And of course, you're going to make sure that you're including your notice period in that and not leaving earlier than your notice period, because that really does not look good. So you're going to say that my final day of work is going to be this, and you're going to add 1 more sentence in just to flesh it out, saying, thank you for the opportunities you've given me to do X. That's all you need to say. Think of whatever you can to have 1 positive sentence in it. And then if you ever need a reference from them, they're going to probably have this email or letter on record, and they can look back and see that it was just a very plain, neutral, bordering slightly positive comment. If you add negatives, then it can only reflect badly on you later on. So keep it neutral or a bit positive if you can. Now, most big companies will offer you an exit interview, and if not, then I would ask for an exit interview, and that gives you the chance to give the company a bit of feedback as to your experiences working there. Now, once again, if you get the chance to have an exit interview with somebody, try to keep it positive. So if there were negatives, try to frame them verbally as being positives and come with a solutions-focused conversation. So for example, if you think that the workplace has had a bad atmosphere socially, then you could keep that positive and say, I think there could be a better social atmosphere than there has been. And the way you could do that is to, for example, have everybody together and ask them to feedback how they would like their workplace to improve, or something like that. So give a solution, a potential solution to the problem, and keep it positively focused. So you can mention the negatives, but put a positive spin and a positive angle on it. So for example, if say you think there were no chances for advancement, you could say, being honest, it would have been a little bit better for me if there had been chances for advancement. So again, you're saying it in a positive way, but it's the negative thing that you're trying to describe. So only describe those negatives verbally in an exit interview. Don't put them down in writing, because then it's going to be kept on record forever and it can only come back to bite you later on. So when you're leaving, be really neutral, be really positive, and just move on. Be polite, professional, see out your notice period, you know, and leave on a really positive note, knowing that you're going to a place that you've tested out and that you know is going to be better than the place you're at now. So I hope you like this one. I'll just go through the 3 steps again. So the first step is to just test out your idea of leaving and making sure that when you do leave, you're going to a better place than you're in now. The second step is to make a proper plan and have a proper strategic approach to moving on, doing your applications and keeping up with it, doing several hours a week. Don't let months pass by on that. Just take a really active approach to moving on. And finally, you're going to quit, and you're going to do that in a really professional and positive manner. So don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you like it, and please join my Facebook group, the Career Change Ninjas, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye.